Going over to the Cultural Part podcast, you have Matt Walsh going viral for his clip talking about how white people are never called native or indigenous. Now, this is obviously brought to us thanks to Matt Walsh, specifically on his X account, #MattWalshBlog. And he says, quote, "They want us to believe that white people are somehow not native or indigenous to any place on Earth," unquote. And it's a little lengthy, but about 3 minutes, 47 seconds. Well, no, it is precisely, but we shall get through it. I don't say F- for marketing, Daily Wire, but how is his thermos not properly illuminated so you can see that it says Liberal Tears thermos on it? That's not realistic because that thing isn't falling apart yet. And then how is his cup or his mug not perfectly turned so you can see the logo for the Sweet Baby Gang? Surely there's someone on set with a modicum of intelligence that would be in charge of branding. In theory. At least the stuff in the background, all the crap on a shelf, that is, placed properly. But I partially digress. Let's hear what Matt has to say.
This is the funny thing about who is considered native or not, who is considered an invader or not. CNN commentators have no problem announcing that white people whose ancestors have been in the country for 20 generations should go back home if they're in South Africa. But try telling the Somalis of Minnesota to go back home. You'll be immediately labeled a far-right bigot, even though the Somalis have been here for at most a couple of decades.
Well, I was going to say mostly a couple, maybe a year or two. I mean, Minnesota as a slight to the state, I like to mispronounce it. I mean, they basically are Somalia 2.0. So many have immigrated to, or they've imported so many into Minnesota that they changed what used to be a beautiful flag of Minnesota to now a rudimentary flag that looks kind of like Somalia if you only had crayons in a kindergarten education. It's pretty pathetically simple, and they've clearly been conquered. But nevertheless, back to Matt.
I've been here for a couple of hours, but we're told that the Somalis have every right to be here. That we're told the Somalis, the moment they step foot here, they are just as American as anyone else. The moment the Somali steps foot in this country, they're just as American as you, even if your family's been here for 400 years. And yet the white South Africans are not South African even after 400 years. And Americans who can trace their lineage back several centuries, they just have to shut up and take it in this country. No matter where they are, maybe you've noticed white people, no matter where they are always the colonizers and have no legitimate claim to whatever land they're on. In other words, under the left's framework, white people are the only demographic on the planet that can never be considered truly at home or native to any country anywhere. We'll be told that a white person's true home is Western Europe. And yet, if any white person in the UK claimed that it was a white country, they'd be condemned.
Or they'd be banned on social media. Or in the UK, they'd be fined because the government can and will arrest you and fine you for memes, or as I call them, memes, because it sounds kind of fancier that way.
They say to us in America that this isn't our land, right? It's stolen. So where is our land? They will not follow that to its conclusion and say that, well, Europe is the white man's land. They're not going to say that. So where is it? The message is that there is literally no place on earth that white people can claim as a legitimate homeland. A white man is native to nowhere. He is indigenous to nowhere.
Russia? Kidding.
I mean, that's strange, isn't it? How does that work? Have you noticed that there's no country on the planet with white indigenous people? How is that possible? Where did the white people come from? Did they fall out of the sky like...
I thought we call that Iowa. Kidding. Well, maybe not.
Rain? Did they magically spawn out of thin air? If a white person could...
It's funny he says it, spawn out of thin air, or spawn out of thin air. I was going to say, well, I guess it's backward because I'm doing the hand gesture to the screen. But yeah, a famous historical figure, not yet to be born, but soon to be born in Iowa, Captain Kirk of the Star Wars universe. Kidding, I know it's Star Trek, but still, maybe that's real. Oh, kidding.
Trace his roots back to the 17th century in this country. Does that make him a Native American? I mean, at what point can the white person say, yeah, I am native to this country? How many centuries does he need to be? Does his family need to be in a country to be native to it? How many generations? 10? Is that enough? No. 15, 20, 25, 30, 40? Is that enough? At that point, can we say we're native to this country? And if the answer is, well, there's no amount of time, if the answer is that, well, it could be 1,000 years from now, and a white person who's been here for more than 1,000 years, their family's been here for 1,000 years, still is not native to this country in America. If that's the answer, then again, where is his native homeland? And if he goes there, can he claim the title of native or indigenous? Can he say that the non-natives are invading or stealing? Well, the left has no answer to any of those questions. And the reason is that the terms native and colonizer and invader and indigenous are all just tools of manipulation. They don't mean anything.
True. Though, again, I'm not sure why this is bugging me. Maybe it's just my OCD. But I thought the editors or someone would fix this in the shot. But again, his main thermos on the table, which suspiciously enough, people never actually drink out of them. Are there really contents inside? Or are there not? But again, 80% of that logo is blacked out. Or, there's not light on it, so you can't read it. And again, his iconic mug, or his mug with his gang on it, the Sweet Baby Gang, can't elaborate. I'm not allowed to elaborate more into the doings of that club or organization. But nevertheless, you only see half of it. And again, maybe I'm the only idiot who cares about this stuff. But branding is important. Well, shoot, that's the way sponsored by Topic Technologies. You can see that perfectly in this beautiful mug here. In fact, some would say, that's the best mug I've ever seen on a table. You can see the logo so perfectly, so great, so grand. I hear they even give away flamethrowers to Topic Technologies with every IT purchase. Go to the website to check it out, as some might say. But, yep, Matt Walsh, yet again, is, as youth might say, based. Now, go to the comments again. This got 29.1 million views and 60,000 likes. Or, no, I thought we could make it the one more to make it 61,000 likes. We were not, but I liked it nevertheless. Now, one of the first ones comes to us thanks to, I'm going to butcher this name, but not intentionally, Arquail Bloss. Arquail Boss. She says, who are white people? And she got 49 likes for that? Cool Christian engineer, A+ marketing, you know exactly what he does for a living. If you're self-employed, you definitely need to put like his company name in there. That's the only thing that's missing in terms of a good advertisement, I think. Or maybe it intrigues me so much, I'll check out his profile. But in all seriousness, Cool Christian Engineer says, quote, sometimes this is the case. And there's a sticker on looks like a rail. It says, they don't hate racism, they hate white people. And 82 likes. Base electrician. Perhaps maybe he's also an engineer, some might say. Got some tradesmen up in here. He says, quote, I've recently decided that I'm indigenous to wherever I want to be, getting 15 likes. Cash Loren says, because Democrats are Marxist racist, getting 34 likes. Libby Emmons says, quote, I'm an indigenous Yankee, getting 125 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, there's a massive push to discriminate against white people. It's a real pandemic, getting 296 likes. Sandman Turo says, you're native to Europe, but you're an invader everywhere else, getting 678 likes. I mean, Europe is looking a lot differently these days. We'll see how much longer they'll hold on to that. The UK, England looks a lot like Somalia these days. This propaganda says, quote, white people are not native to Americas, white people are not native to Africa, white people are not native to Europe. Or says white people, he says white people are native to Europe. That is a complicated one, getting 1.8 thousand likes. Contrarian statement. Clutch Insights responded to him saying, quote, do you think people in general should only live in their indigenous lands? Should all Africans move back to Africa, Asians back to Asia, and whites back to Europe? Getting 84 likes. Sam says, except when foreigners invade Europe, and white people are still called bigots and racist for saying Europe is for white people, that's the point of Walsh's argument, getting 134 likes, including one from me, which, again, yeah, if you say, I mean, Europe is such a messed up, weak, conquered place that citizens who complain about illegals who abuse women and children, they actually get in more trouble for making memes about that, memes, than the actual perpetrators. They get lighter sentences than the evil men who are abusing these women and kids. That's how pathetic Europe is. Also, probably, pathetic and weak and maybe corrupted their officials are. You could also argue the citizens are weak for allowing that to happen and not getting off their keisters and maybe voting differently. Yet another reason to never let your guns go away. Because they're very easy to control the populace if they have no repercussions or no way to stand up for themselves. Mugi says, go back to Europe if it bothers you so much. No one is forcing you to be in the US. If any race is unhappy in the US, then go. Getting 19 likes. Atticus says, quote, responding to him, says, ah, yes, the old, if you're unhappy about it, go to your homeland, being given over and taken away. Just leave and we can have it. Retards everywhere. Getting 21 likes. He says that, but I was going to say, I do not see the hashtag or the user on X known as retard finder in this yet. Crazy Vibe has a picture that says this, and it's someone by the name of Mark Lunchman, and he says, quote, only 1.6% of U.S. citizens owned slaves in 1860 when slavery was at its peak. So if you stop basing your hate for the entire white race for the actions of 1.6%, getting 675 likes. Mr. Pitbull, I was going to say, at this point, I'm almost convinced, is this the singer? Let's see here. His profile says, I'm with the truth. He also says free Texas and Florida from Islam. And he, maybe, I don't think it's a singer. He's only got 92,000 followers, which again is a lot more than me. However, I think the Pitbull musician, I'm pretty sure he has more than that many followers. I think he's the guy who's talking about the Holiday Inn, right? Something to that effect. I'm sure he has a couple songs. He's known for being, he owns many sunglasses and many oils to shine his balding head. And he wears a suit. So I guess he is based in terms of his clothing attire. Now, Mr. Pitbull says, quote, once white people became a minority, they'll be targeted with constant payback for so-called hateful historic sins. It's already happening in South Africa and other parts of Europe, and it could happen here next. Rejecting the guilty narrative, there's nothing shameful about being white. Getting 787 likes. I mean, it's been happening in the U.S. for years with everyone clamoring, a lot of people using the subject and I would say mostly as a political tool in terms of the topic of reparations. I mean, that's been a topic for, 30 plus years in the United States? And politicians always promise, oh yeah, we'll get you this. Yeah, they won't. Also, again, we're 36.6 trillion in debt. So even if they want to, where would the money come from? Machiavelli has a picture of a Democrat and is the southern border being invaded. It says infinity non-whites, and he's happy. And then Democrats disgusted when it says 50 white farmers from South Africa, getting 1.8 thousand likes. Tony Rigatoni says, who are they? Getting 3.6 thousand likes. Timothy responded saying, the left, obviously. Do you think he meant something else? Well, then you're pretty effing stupid. Getting 69 likes. Tony responded saying, quote, you are too low IQ to have rights in this country, getting 24 likes. Officer Nasty says, we'll find out when they fire Matt Walsh, getting 103 likes. I hope they don't fire him. I mean, I think it's a small sample size now because they get rid of so many of their talent, but I think he's one of the best talents at the Daily Wire, even if I don't agree with him on everything, which kind of cliche to say because, you don't agree with anyone on everything. But yeah, Matt Walsh is standing up. He's past couple months standing up for free speech and going up against what the Daily Wire heads might like. Now, scrolling down, he also had mirthful moments saying F around, find out. It says South Africa, F around, and we'll find out. White farmers currently produce. And again, still don't see a source for this, but this picture is going viral on social media lately. It says they produce 95.3% of their corn, 98.7% of their wheat, 97.6% of their cotton, 7.2% of their citrus, 99% of their potatoes. But let's be honest, they just growing those for themselves. I'm only partially kidding. 91.4% tomatoes, 96.9% of their soybeans, 95.8% of their poultry, 66% of their cattle, and 89% of their wool. They got 121 likes. You have Adam Johnson saying, quote, to the left, white people are colonizers and so in America deserve to be replaced via mass immigration, since our nation was founded in, quote, unquote, stolen land. For Europeans, because they colonized most of the world, they also deserve to be replaced by mass migration. Is revenge, getting 992 likes. It was one. Now it went up like a stock right before our eyes. Crazy Vibes also says Boers have been in many parts of South Africa much longer than Bantus have been there. Whites arrived in America before Maori arrived in New Zealand. The left is completely, utterly hypocritical when it comes to the ideals of nativeness, indigenous, and belonging, getting 199 likes. So not too many contrarian statements. Special Officer Doofy saying, who is they, Matt, the Jews, getting 701 likes. A.T. Johnson responded saying, communists, getting 19. Let's make it 20 likes. Scrolling down more and more. Kyle Becker says it's critical theory. Anyone who studies it more than 5 minutes can figure it out and predict every single talking point for the American left. Getting 615 likes. I also have Vertical Architect having this popular meme going around this week. You have I was about to say, a short, pink-haired, overweight gal, leftist, but that's kind of redundant. who's all happy. He says, "Refugees welcome," and then she sees the white refugees from South Africa, and then she's upset and irate. That got 186 likes. So we'll see. Let's see here. Oh, one more. JG says, "It's all good, well, but," and they have the, I don't know who made this, but the geese meme. We have the goose saying, "Who are they, Matt?" And says it again, and the figure is running away, getting 934 likes. I'd say the deep state, leftist. So I was going to say this, I think Matt brings up a couple good points, and it is kind of cliche. I mean, just think about all the times they talk about on the TV. But let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. And lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.